Hello and welcome to another episode of Almost Enough Comics. It's basically a comic haul, but I like to call it Almost Enough Comics as that is the permanent state of my collection. And I believe many comic collectors feel the same way. And I think that if you ever reach the moment when you say that, okay, now I have all the comics I need, I don't think that's a happy moment. Because part of this hobby, important part of this hobby, is finding new artists, new writers, new stories, new characters, new worlds, and then talking about them with your friends. Of course, trying to make them read them. It's all part of this fussing, and I think it's important and integral part of this whole disease. Let's not fool ourselves. It's always going to be almost enough comics, and this time I have just received one big pile again. It's too heavy to hold up, so without further ado, let's get a closer look at them. First on top of the stack is Our Encounters with Evil by Mike Mignola and Warwick Johnson Cadwell. I have no idea what this is about. I guess because they are holding a sledgehammer and a wooden stick, it's about vampires, because Mike Mignola. So it's not a surprise. It's something that is just going to fill the void of Hellboy for a while. I'm waiting for the Lobster Johnson omnibus to be published, and until that I just try to find anything from Mike Mignola. And I took a quick look inside, and the art it's pretty cool. It's kind of a little bit off, so to speak, but in a cool way. It's endearing in some sense. And with Mike Mignola doing the stories, I'm expecting a lot of garlic and silver bullets on this one. But as I said, no idea what it is. I think I'm going to like it anyway. Next, another Berserk. This is the 7th deluxe edition. I'm running a bit behind. I think the 10th one is already coming out. Nothing deeper to say about Berserk that hasn't been said before, except if you wait until the end of the video, I will show you an unnecessary and fun fact about Berserk and Finland. So at least wait for that. Next, I have 2 Largo Winch albums. As in my previous haul video, I showed that I started collecting these and found out that these albums are actually double albums. This is the third volume, and this is the 4th volume. But both of these, they have 2 albums inside, because the story arcs in Largo Winch, they are always, I guess they are always 2 albums long. So it's a good way to collect the whole thing in one go. Although I know that after this is the last double album, the 4th one. After this, they will be single volumes, like the See, Venice and Die. You have to buy 2 to get the whole story arc. I read the first ones that I ordered and immediately fell in love with this. This is stupidly good stuff. This is so European. You can't get any more European than this. And they are from Cinebook, and I already know that I will buy the whole series. The art by Philippe Franck. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, or the writer Sean Van Hamme. I hope I'm not butchering the names. Writing is great. The art is absolutely stunning. The details are insane. I find myself often just stopping to look at the details for a long time. There's lots of text here, but it's actually in this comic, it's a good thing. I think I'll be getting back to this series in closer detail once I have read all of them. I think that's the best solution. I'm just going to show you quickly some art inside so you get the idea of what it looks like. It's like thriller, techno, it's not a spy thriller, but it has that same kind of thing. Largo Winch, owner of this, he's a billionaire, but still ending up in this insane and improbable situation and adventures. And the writing is really good and intense. Yes, more of this. Then I have Adaptations by Tsutomu Nihei. It's the 7th volume. I'm not a big fan of this manga size. It's like a pocket book. But I'm a massive fan of Tsutomu Nihei. His Blam or Blame series, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but that is my, depending on the day, that could be my number one comics ever. It just made so big impact on me. But even on the worst days, the Blam is at least number 3 in my list. So it's pretty insane. So after that, I've been slowly collecting his other works. I do like this art. It's completely different what he's doing in the Blam. I think intentionally trying to get another type of look. So far, Adaptations has been fun, great to read. It didn't have the type of effect on me as the Blam, but this is still highly enjoyable. The next one I have is Ice Cream Man. This is a test again. I've been told many times how great this is, and I think it's horror, but the thing is that I'm not a horror fan. I don't like horror movies, I don't like horror TV shows, games or anything horror, but I always end up buying these horror comics. Just, I guess I'm not a fan of getting scared, but in the comics you can't be scared in that boo style, you know, someone coming from behind the corner. But I always wish that there's some kind of writing style that would make the horror work for me. So I keep trying these. But this will be another interesting test for me. Next one is Black Hammer and Visions. Just like with horror, I'm not a fan of superheroes almost at all. But there are exceptions, and they are usually outside the regular, the so-called basic DC Marvel stuff. If they are somehow a little bit off, there is some, I guess for me, a little bit more depth in them or another angle. And Black Hammer was a surprise hit for me. I was hooked from the first volume. It's Jeff Lemire's world, but I think the Visions series here is so that there are a massive list of other writers making stories into his Black Hammer world, and of course it means that there is a long list of different type of artists too. And the stories so far in all of the Black Hammers have been, I mean, they've been deep. They are 3-dimensional, and although I have this attitude against the superheroes, this is definitely a big thing for me. I'm collecting everything that comes out from Black Hammer. Next, I have 3 comics that are basically about the same thing, which is Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This is a thing that I've been falling heavy into recently, and I'm just kind of hoarding everything they make. I've been buying this criminal series. This is the 3rd volume, and I thought, okay, why not then take all of it, and then I'd have the whole series and be done with it. But it's just something in me that I'd rather have lots of different comics than just a long run of one. Somehow I can't make myself order comics that way. But to circumvent that condition in me, I ordered 2 other comics that are made by the same team, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Reckless, which is also a series. So now I have another series to battle with, trying to get to the end of it. And then Fade Out, which is a complete story in one thick volume. Some kind of noir crime thing. This looks awesome, just awesome. Last but definitely not the least is a big one. The Neil Gaiman library. This is something that I would usually not buy, meaning that these comic stories here are adaptations of a book from short stories, from Neil Gaiman short stories. I rarely like that type of comics. The reason for me to not touching these usually is that if the book is really good and I like it or love it, it's really hard to get that same thing from the comic, or it's rare that it brings anything extra value to it. It'd be more just like I feel like a fan just shelling out money to a thing that I love but not really getting anything extra out of it. But with Neil Gaiman, the thing is that I have not read these stories. That's one. But the most important thing for me is that although Neil Gaiman is known also as a writer, but he is also a writer for comics. So he is rare breed in sense that he has been very successful in the comics medium and also in the novel writing. So he knows the books and comics. So I trust his expertise, he being the glue here, or some kind of adapter to transform the written stories and adapt them into working and create comics. This library edition holds 4 stories: A Study in Emerald, Murder Mysteries, How to Talk to Curse at Parties, and Forbidden Prize. That's not actually the whole name. I know it's a long one. It's a really long one. Let's see. Yeah, it was Forbidden Prize of the Faceless Slaves in the Secret House of the Night of Dread Desire. Of course. Very Neil Gaiman-ish thing. And this looks already really good. Okay. I'll just jump from here and there. Okay. Really different styles here. This has to be Fabia Moon and Ba, the brothers. The style is so easy to recognize. And then there is the last, that bride story. But anyway, this is a test, and I'm hoping that I'm right. I would so much like to love Gaiman because I'm one of those people that came back to comics because of Neil Gaiman's Sandman. It's one of the most, maybe the most important comics for me ever. I have really high hopes for this. Hey, but now for that thing I promised you, a fun fact about Finland and Berserk. If you are still here, you're waiting for my fun fact about Berserk and Finland. Finland is known as the heavy metal capital of the world. It's because there are the most heavy metal bands per capita. We just like heavy and dark music. That's how we are. And as it happens, we have a popular band in Finland which is, well, it's not based on Berserk, but it's super heavily influenced by that. And that's Beast in Black. The leader of this band, Anton Kapanen, is a massive Berserk fan. And the band has now 3 albums out, and each of them have at least some songs that are directly about Berserk. One of the songs is called Zod the Immortal. So the first album is really mostly about the Berserker, and then they have other themed albums, but all of those albums have something from this awesome manga series. Just in case you are a diehard Berserk fan and you want to know everything about it, you might want to listen to this. That was my haul for this time, and I think I'm happy because I feel that I have now almost enough comics. And see you in the next one. Bye.